Hi everybody, I am Rupa, working as Assistant Professor in Chevrolet Engineering College in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. I am dealing the subject renewable energy sources. Today's topic is heat transport system. So this, though it is a simple flat plate collector and the design is also very simple, but it has some problems. What are the problems we will see now? So depending upon the design, we are having some problems. These problems arises in cold weathers. Cold weather moisture countries, these problems arise. So inside of the transparent cover plate, there will be a freezing of water. And the problem with this design is in cold weather, moisture may condense on the inside of the transparent plate. Okay, moisture also condenses on the inside of the transparent cover plate. So this moisture which condenses decreases the transmission of solar radiations. Though it is very effective heat transport medium, water we are using as an effective heat transport system, but we are having some drawbacks. So what are the drawbacks we will see now? First one is freezing. So water gets freezed in the collector tubes in cold climates. This is especially done in nights because we do not use water for a periodic times. So they will get freeze in the collector tubes during nights. So for preventing the freezing, we can add ethylene glycol to this water, but this increases complexity of heating systems. And this is also a less effective than water for heat removing in the absorber. Heat will not be removed in the absorber so much easier when ethylene glycol is used rather than water. Okay, so if you add if you add this ethylene glycol as an anti-freezing element, it increases the complexity because the heat will not be transferred so much easily. So in some cases, water is drained from the collector tubes. If freezing is expected, water is drained from the collector tubes, but it is difficult to refill all the tubes in the morning. It is a big task. Another problem is due to corrosion. So the continuous using of tubes with the water the tubes will be corroded. And if you refill this water at the night times, it is filled, the empty tubes are filled with the air, it increases the rate of corrosion. So in evaporating the water, again it increases, it is filled with the water and it is drained. The water is drained out at night, so some moisture will be present in the tubes. So if this moisture is combined with the oxygen in the air and filled with the air, it increases the rate of corrosion. So this corrosion problem can be minimized by using copper tubes, but it is somewhat costly. And economically we can use aluminium as for tubes. But these aluminiums, though these aluminiums are is less expensive, if the water in the aluminium tubes are periodically undergo chemical treatments. Okay, periodically we have to give water a chemical treatment if you use aluminium tubes. This shows the air collectors, or simply we can call it as solar air heaters. So figure shows that this is a flat plate collector where air is used as a stream. Here air is heated by backside of the collector plate. By backside of the collector plate, the air in the middle is heated. Here fins are attached to plate to increase the contact surface. These fins are attached to increase the contact surface. Backside of the collector is usually heavily insulated. This insulation is done by a material, mineral wool or some other materials we can use. but these are heavily insulated. The favorable orientation for the collector for heating oil is only in the facing due south. And south also, this inclination angle to the horizontal will be equal to latitude 15 degrees plus. Air is less used when compared to water, but it has some advantages moreover than water. So to decrease the power required to pump the necessary volume of air through tubes, wider flow channels are used. In the water, we can use narrow channels to pass the water, but here for passing the air, a wider flow channels are used. Because to decrease the power required to pump the necessary volume of the air through tubes, we need wider channels. This is the zigzag airflow path in flat plate collectors. This is the insulator. So this is at the bottom there is insulator and absorber plate. In between the insulator and absorber plate, air is made to flow. And we are using here, these dark lines are called as baffles. We are using baffles at every point of air stream, such that air will be allowed to flow between the space between the absorber plate and insulator with baffles arranged. These baffles are arranged to provide a long zigzag flow path. See, this is from downwards, air is flowing like this and it is obstructed by the baffle. Again, it is flowing in the direction where there is space between two baffles, and again the air is made to flow between two baffles. So like that, air is flown to the upside. Okay, so this makes a zigzag airflow path. Using this air as a heat transport fluid, we can eliminate the freezing and corrosion, and small air leaks are negligible. If there is a small air leak, it is neglected. But if there is a small water leak also, it should be taken into account, because water leak means hot water leak will be there and there will be a side effect on this one. So we have to consider water leak and we have to not consider the small air leaks. This heated air can be directly used for space heatings without any transport or without any form of change of energy. This heated air can be used directly for space heating. But other than water, these are having some drawbacks. This air heating is having some drawback. The first one is we are using large duct sizes, so higher flow rates are needed for pumping the powers. Higher flow rates are needed, and these large ducts also are costly. In this air, large duct sizes are used and higher flow rates are used. So this is one of the disadvantage of air heaters. And second one is transfer of heat from air to water in hot air supply system is very inefficient. We have to, if you want to transfer the heat from air to water in hot water supply system, it is inefficient. Coming to the applications of solar air heaters, there are totally 5 applications of solar air heaters. First one is drying or curing of agriculture products. If you blow the air, hot air, the agriculture products get dried and curing. Second one is space heating for comfort. This is all we know. The required space can be heated for room temperatures or desired heats for our comfort. Third one is regeneration of dehumidifying agents. So we can dehumidify. We can delete the humidity present in the apparatus or anything. Fourth one is seasoning of timber. So this can be done by air heating also, seasoning of timber. And fifth one is curing of industrial products such as plastics. We can mold the plastics or we can mold them into any shapes using these air heaters in industrial products. So various types of applications are there for these solar air heaters. Various designs of collectors for heating air by solar energy are there. One of various heaters are shown in this figure, in this slide. In all the various designs, air is passed in contact with a black solar absorbing surface. Example we are taking as finger plates or ducts. And these are corrugated, these are folded or ruffled plates of various materials are used. Any type of material of these plastic materials or glass materials or various types of materials are used, and this several layer of metal screenings and overlaps glass plates are used here. So in various designs, these are the used one. And flow is also straight. This flow is straight through serpentine above or below on both sides of the observer plates or through a porous observer materials. Actually, basically air heaters are of two types. First one is non-porous observer and second one is porous observer. So in this figure we are seeing non-porous type of air heaters. So coming to this non-porous observers, air stream does not flow the observer through the observer plate. Okay, so here air stream is not allowed to flow through the observer plates. Air flows above or behind the observer plates. Right? It is not passed through the observer plate. It is made to pass above or behind the observer plate. Whereas in porous observers, it includes slit and expanded material, or expanded some metal is taken. And it contains transpired honeycomb and overlapped glass plates observers. This is the difference between the non-porous observers and porous observers. It includes split and expanded material, honeycomb and overlapped glass material. This is a overlapped glass plate observer. This material is used as a glass plate observers. So first we will discuss about non-porous observers. So these figures indicates that these are non-porous observers. These non-porous observers are, if you see in figure A, they are figures A, B and C. So different figures are there, different types of designs are explained in this. A figure is one type of design, means B figure is other and C is other one. So if you see in figure A here, these are cooled by air stream flowing over both sides of plate. So both sides of plate cooled by air. In most significant, if you coming to B observer, if you see in B, it is having without fins, this is without fins, this is straight fins, this is U fins and these are staggered fins. So without fins there is only one design, and with fins there are three types of designs: staggered fins, U fins and straight fins. If you observe this, in most designs in figure B, in this figure B, in most designs air will be flowing behind the observer surface. Okay, so as air flows above upper surface, this increases the convection losses from the cover plate. So because of this reason, it is not recommended if the air inlet temperature rises at a collector or large temperatures. Okay, so it is not efficient. In these designs, air is flows behind the observer surface. And next, transmission of the solar radiation through the transparent cover system, and its absorption is same as that of the liquid type flat plate collectors. The solar radiation coming to the observers and it is absorbed by the observer plate, and transparent cover is also absorbing the solar radiation. Again it is emission. These all are the same as liquid type flat plate collectors. And in order to improve the collection efficiency, we have to take some selective coatings. But these coatings cost should also be very, very less in order to decrease the cost of the solar heater. This coatings improves the collection efficiency, and moreover we should decrease the cost. And these have low efficiency rates, low heat transfer rates than the liquid solar heaters. If the same solar radiation intensity is coming and it is having same temperature conditions, but these efficiencies will be varying. Liquid type solar heaters are having more efficiencies than air solar heaters. So these are the drawbacks of these solar heaters, but the performance of the air heaters can also be improved. Okay, so these can be improved by roughly two methods we are using. First one is roughing the rear of the plate to promote the turbulence and improve the convective heat transfer coefficient. This heat transfer coefficient will be discussed in further classes. So if you rough the rear of the plate to promote turbulence and it improves the convective heat transfer coefficient. And second one is adding fins. So these fins, if you add fins, they increase the heat transfer surface. And if you add fins, turbulence is also increased, which enhances the convective heat transfer. It makes very easy to heat transfer if you add fins. FINS fins. So a solar collector, see in figure C, a solar collector with V coagulated copper foil is shown in C here. So this is a V coagulated copper foil. Coagulating means foldings. These foldings are represented like this. And absorption of solar radiation is improved due to surface radioactive characteristics. This is one of the main advantage. The absorption of the solar radiation can be improved by using surface radioactive characteristics and the geometry of the coagulations which help in trapping the reflected radiations. If you suppose in these flat plate collectors, we are not orienting to the sun's direction, but the geometry which it is staying means the area or location which it is staying. If the sun's orientation is not that much, it helps to take the solar radiations to its maximum level. Okay, so the trapping of the solar radiations also depends upon the geometry. These are the three types. This is normally we see the liquid flat plate collector as like that. This is air flat plate collector, and this is second one is using fins. These increase the surface absorber transparency rates and absorption rate also. And third one is V-coagulated copper foil is used here. These are the three types of designs in non-porous absorbers. Next we will see porous. These are the sketches of porous absorber type air heaters. We are going to this second type because we are having some disadvantages in non-porous absorber type air heaters. So what are the disadvantages means the main drawback of non-porous absorber plate, it is the necessity of observing all the incoming radiation over the projected area from a thin layer over the surface is in order of only few microns. Obviously, if you observe the maximum solar radiation coming from the sun also, a thin layer, it is a thin layer usually here, and it will be in order of few microns. That means from sun we are getting 10 micrometers wavelength. And if you observe that full maximum solar radiation is observed, and for giving back it uses only 5 micrometers. But it is this absorption rate in non-porous absorbers is less than these 5. Okay, this is the main drawback of non-porous absorbers. So if you use the coatings, selective coatings, if you use selective coatings means which are selected, which are some selected materials are selected, some materials are selected, and these materials are coated over the glass plate so that they increases the absorption rate. So unless selective coatings are used, radioactive losses from the absorber's plate are excessive. Unless we use this, the radioactive losses going into the atmosphere from the absorber plate are more. So automatically the collection efficiency decreases. It cannot be improved. The pressure, again this is a next drawback. The pressure along the duct formed between the absorber plate and the rear insulation is also prohibited in case of adding fins. So these fins increase the pressure along the duct formed between the absorber plate and rear insulation. Okay, we are using the fins to increase the heat transfer surface and turbulence rate, but this increases the pressure. So the difficulty with this turbulence is pressure drop across the collector. So if you increase the turbulence rate also, there will be a pressure drop. Too many surfaces and too many restrictions are there if you add fins also, because the airflow requires larger fan if fins are taken in the non-porous, we need a large blower to flow the air. Firstly, we have to flow the air so that it will be flowing from, it will be passing, the air will be passing through the fins. If you blow it slowly, it cannot be flowed through the fins. So large amount of energy is required to push the air through. And the energy required for this cancel out, saving from using solar energy, particularly if fan is electrical, and it is the amount of energy which is burned at the power plant to produce electrical energy. It is also included. So this fan also takes lot of energy from the power plant to blow the air. So this is the waste power. So power is utilized wastely. So these effects, these all drawbacks are eliminated in porous absorber type collectors. So these defects are eliminated by two methods, two ways. The first one is solar radiation will be made to penetrate to greater depths. Okay, so this solar radiation when penetrated to greater depths, and it is absorbed gradually depending on the matrix density. Okay, the cool air stream introduced from the upper surface of the matrix, first it is heated by the upper layers, which are cooler than the bottom layers. And next, the air stream warms up while transversing the matrix layers. While it is going through the matrix layers, the air gets heated. So lower matrix layers are hotter than the upper ones. So the air stream can effectively transfer heat from the matrix. As the air goes on to the lower matrix, the temperature increases here. So lower matrix layers are hotter than upper ones. Upper ones are cool, and when you go to the lower matrix, the air will be heated, and it can be effectively transfer heat from the matrix. So improper selection of matrix porosity and matrix porosity also, porosity and porosity quality, and the pores of the matrix should also be properly selected, and thickness should also be properly selected. If you improperly select those porosity and thickness of the matrix, it reduces the efficiency of this absorber type air heaters. And we should take proper selection of number of matrix layers also. And if you go on adding the matrix layers, beyond the optimum, the solar radiation cannot be more efficient because the heat cannot be trapped in the matrix. And the pressure drop for the matrix is usually lower than non-porous absorbers with flow behind the plates, since flow per unit cross section will be much lower. Although we are using matrix here, this hinders the flow, this stops the flow, but the pressure drops reported for porous matrix absorbers are still lower than the non-porous absorbers. So in the first figure A, you are seeing wire mesh and slit expert. These are the two types of matrix used here, slit or expanded metal here. Some metals are used here, and wire mesh is used as a matrix. And this solar heating can also be done by second one, B, honeycombs. By using honeycombs also, air can be flowed from top to bottom, and when the air flows from top to bottom, it gets heated. See, the solar air heating utilizes a transpired honeycomb. It is also very favorable form of pressure drop standpoint, since the flow's cross section is much larger, because in the matrix the cross sections will be lower. Here somewhat pressure will be dropped than the non-porous absorber type air heaters, but here in honeycomb matrix we are taking large cross sections, large flow cross sections. So here still pressure will be reduced. A scientist called Wheeler has suggested a method for using crushed glass layers to absorb solar radiations, which heats the air. So this is seen in figure C. Here broken glass absorbers are taken. So the porous bed is made with a broken bottles, and these broken bottles are made to form in layers. In layer type, these broken glass materials are taken. This is suggested by a Wheeler, scientist called Wheeler. Okay, so at the bottom we see that the glass is of dark color. At bottom we are taking dark glass, and at the top we are taking clear glass. So this may be readily used for agriculture drying purposes with minimal expenditure. This expenditure also very less. This can be directly used for the agriculture drying process. Okay, so if you spot out the figure D, this is overlapped glass plate air heater. It is considered as one of the form of porous matrix. Although overall flow direction is along the absorber glass plates instead of being across the matrices. So the plate and air stream temperature increases gradually here. Along with the collector, the plate and air stream temperature increases gradually step by step. And they also increases from top to bottom, across the top to bottom also. The thermal losses will be significantly reduced here in this type. Okay, the pressure drop is also significantly less when compared to the non-porous flat plate absorbers design. This is more effectively used than non-porous. Now we will see the applications of solar air heaters. The first application is heating buildings. So solar air heaters use roof or wall or windows mounted solar collectors to heat the air that passes through them. This solar collector must be mounted on a south-facing roof or wall. There it gets full sun exposure. That is, it is not obstructed by trees, tall buildings or any other shade procedures. So smaller window units can be mounted under a sunny south-facing window. This type of solar air heaters extends through the windows, so you would not need to install any ducts or vents to enable airflow. These simple direct transfer systems do not store heat, so they do not work at night or on cloudy days. This is the application of heating buildings. Second one of application is it is used for drying agriculture procedure and lumber. This is the main application for solar energy in southern Mediterranean countries. In agriculture, it is the drying of agriculture crops. So the optimization of dryers necessitates complete knowledge of whole drying process. Thus, this leads to energy savings and avoid environmental problems by using these type of renewable energy sources. So we are using this type of solar air heaters for drying agriculture procedures in India also. In order to stimulate the function of our solar collector, simply we choose a model based on evaluation of different heat transfer coefficients in the collector and within the external environment, which allows determining the overall collector heat loss efficiency. So mainly we use these. There are types of solar heaters there. Firstly, our purpose was to calculate the fluid outlet temperature, the output energy used, and thermal efficiency as a function of ambient temperature, incident solar radiation, wind speed, and air mass flow rate. After all these calculations, we take the type of design used for our drying process. So the present suggested model's results demonstrated that the air heater has paid off since we can attain the temperature on the order of 80 degrees Celsius at the fluid outlet and 60% in thermal performance. And third one is heating greenhouse effect. As we discussed before, this is used for heating the greenhouse effects. And fourth one is air conditioning building utilization desiccant beds or absorption refrigerator process. Substances that remove moisture from the air are called as desiccants. The most widely used desiccant are probably when we buy a new bag or new plastic items, we see a silica gel there. So this removes moisture from the air. So this is one of the popular desiccant we are seeing in our daily life. So the most widely used desiccants are silica gel. It is a kind of porous glassy substance that absorbs moisture under the right conditions. So when it is used in conditions that are fatally flawed in that they work best at room temperature, not at all the much higher temperatures often found in containers. So dry air container desiccants are specially designed. These are specially designed and formulated with food grade integrates for shipping containers, these are based on calcium chloride. They have a vigorous absorption over